Happy Hump Day, everyone. Welcome to the Wonder Woman Wednesday podcast. Today we are in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm excited to introduce not one, but two very special guests, Sherette Thompson and Divinity Shrine, two amazingly dope women who are truly living their best lives, living, loving, and leading on in their authentic truth in such a way that is most fulfilling and exhilarating to their soul. Sherette, Divinity, and I got a chance to discuss the reality of what it means to really walk in your truth, moving past doubt and fear to a place of security and confidence, all while walking to the beat of your own drum. So without further ado, let's head over to my girls now. And today we are talking about walking in your truth and designing your own authentic life. And I'm super excited. We've already started talking. Well, like Sherette and I started talking about half an hour ago, but we're going to have a good conversation today. So I'm excited. We're going to dig deep into the lives of these young women who are super phenomenal in their own way. And what are you doing, Sherette?
That's my phenomenon.
We're just gonna get right into it. So we all have our own spiritual journeys, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm pretty sure no one's spiritual journey was easy.
No.
So right. And it's not supposed to be,
right?
Of course,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I basically want to start with the introduction of describing what the spiritual journey was like for you. You know, Sherette, you and I were talking earlier about how you used to be. What word did you use? You say trashy? Slutty?
I was a little trashy. I was trashy.
Yes. And then I said I'm still a little trashy.
Yes, that's what she said. That's what she said.
Still a little trashy.
This golden child and we're all just like, it can't do no wrong.
Right.
Like, no, we all went through some things.
Exactly.
Went through that trash can.
Yeah, okay. Part of finding yourself.
Right.
It is very much so.
Yeah.
Very much. And once you find yourself, sometimes you still kind of realize that you have a little trashiness in you, and that's kind of like where I am now, kind of learning how to basically embrace that, but embrace it in such a way that I'm finding the happy medium. I don't know if I would say trashiness per se, but just that
maybe the duality of yourself. You know, we
yeah,
all have
very
like
much so.
Like kind of like a light and a dark side.
Exactly.
So you get that
The yin
shadow
and the
work
yang.
from, and balancing yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I've been trying to embrace. So it's not always love and light. Positivity.
Okay, it is so nice.
Yeah. I'm not always angelic, you know. I mean, I would like to believe I am, but that's not the truth.
We try.
But there's always that one time.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's necessary for me to be a bit of a bitch. And, you know, I'm learning to embrace all parts of myself. Mm-hmm. So basically, I just want to discuss the spiritual journey of us and, you know, what brought us here. And Sherette, if you want to start, how did you get to where you are now in your spiritual journey?
Thank you. Well, I was telling you, I had a bit of a shaky event. Mm-hmm. It was my birthday, and Spirit told me to stop talking to this girl. So I was like, okay, girl, I'm gonna stop talking to you. And then she was nice to me and bought me a scarf. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we can go out for a drink that night. Girl went out for a drink, and I got drugged. My car got stolen. Like, everything got stolen. And
she done juju your scarf.
Girl.
Why you accepting stuff from people? She accepting stuff from people she ain't supposed to be talking to.
Because Spirit told me.
Yeah.
So I remember walking down the street. I blacked out, and all I remember is waking up in a stranger's car in the parking garage of my apartment, and the door was kicked in.
That's so scary.
And it changed my whole entire life, if you can imagine. Mm-hmm. But that was like the event where I remember I sat down and I was alone in my house, and I played Oprah Super Soul Sunday, like Y'all Fix My Life. Like, I needed all of it, okay? And I just remember, like, right. I just remember being like, I'm going to be free. Like, because I can't go through that no more. And so, like, that instance for me was definitely, like, the moment when I was like, there's something out here that's better. Yeah. Like, I have to listen and, like, know and be sure. Because I knew. And I still was like, no, Spirit don't know what they talking about. Let me just go ahead and be with her.
You got to hit ground zero sometimes in order to
reset.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
To rise, to evolve. And a lot of times, that I think that's all of us. We tend to think that we can get away with a lot, or, we can do things on our own timing, but then that spirit hits you and it's like, it's time. It's time to evolve, whether you like it or not. So
Yeah.
So you're saying that is what gave you the motivation to start living in your own truth, or
yeah, I think at that point I had to look at myself like, what am I doing in my life that's attracting all of this? Because I do believe that our life is literally what we ask.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that sucks because you're like, whoa, I didn't ask for this, right? Like, I asked to be better, I didn't ask to get drugged.
Right.
God. But it's like, you have to understand like the lessons in it all, and you have to look and learn your lesson, because if you don't, it's gonna come back around anyway.
Yep. And again and again and again until you get it.
Because I wanted it, so the universe is gonna give it to me. Like, whatever you put out, you're gonna get back, and you just gotta work through it. So I think it just kind of put me into that cycle where it was like, okay, I gotta get this lesson. Like, what is that, Lord?
Right. I can definitely relate. So, Divinity Shrine, what about you? What brought you to this moment in your spiritual journey? First, before you answer, we all want to hear about this Thailand living.
Okay.
So make sure you get to that point. I am so jealous. Like, I wanted to, and I've done that before, where you live in other countries, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Just when it comes to like finding yourself and soul searching, so refreshing. I've had times where I had to move back to America, and it was so hard to adjust back to American life. And I don't want to tell your story for you or get off track, but if you can kind of sneak that in there a little bit.
Drop that in there. Yeah. Okay, so how I got to this point in my life, and I'm going to be real and honest, was through a lot of pain, a lot of tears, a lot of determination, and just really saying, okay, it's time for me to get this ball going. It's time for me to take charge of my life and do what I need to do to get to where I want to be. So I had to really take a lot of time of self-reflection and self-love. I had to really care for myself, love on myself. Of course, I was talking to people I shouldn't have been talking to, in groups I shouldn't have been with, because I was dibbling and dabbling, like, when I was, like, 19 through 20. I'm 26 now, and, in the beginnings of, like, magic and juju and stuff, so, and hoodoo. So, I was, and I still am, I'm just a bit more mature now, but I used that, and I used my ancestral knowledge, and through all the trials and tribulations, and the epiphanies and, corrections through it all, I learned how to transform my life and keep moving upward. Yeah. Even if it seems like I might progress, I have to always look at the situation as there is always a lesson to be learned. I'm not on this earth to just not learn anything.
Right.
And lessons don't come from just sitting down and sitting pretty. So, I
wish it did.
Right? I wish it did too. Right? Give me it all. Thank you. I'll sit in my chair here.
But you know what? Honestly, I say that I wish it did. But in all honesty, when I look back to my life, and I see the painful experiences, I'm like, without those experiences, I know this sounds really cliche, but it's still very, very much true. Like, without those painful experiences, I would not even know how to appreciate a lot of the blessings that have come, into my life. Like, I literally would not, or a lot of the painful lessons that I had to learn would not have manifested the fruit of a lot of what I have today, because a lot comes directly from pain. So it's like it's learning, it's alchemy. It's learning how to use the negative and the positive energy, whatever you're given in life, and create something beautiful from both.
Yes, a lot of beautiful things come from pain.
Absolutely.
A lot of people transform that, right? A lot of people transform that into something magnificent. So, I try to learn from that. I try to learn and keep growing and doing what I have to do. I've read countless stories of people's whole dreams burning down to the ground, only to open up the way for something greater and better.
Absolutely.
So I always keep that in the forefront. So with that being said, I manifested my partner. It was a time where I was very single, very alone, and very lonely. And just really trying to find my way. But when I went out into the communities, I was dealt with a lot of using and a lot of taken my kindness as for granted, and I was so very naive. So I said, you know what? I just want to anchor down, get me a family, get me a man, do what I want to do, travel the world, and, you know, just keep going with that. And so I did that, and then we moved to Thailand. We went to China first, then we moved to Thailand, and Thailand is a really beautiful place. It's wonderful. I've lived in Bangkok, and I've lived in Phuket. I lived in Phuket the most, but it is very far away. It can get isolating. You're not going to see that many black folks. I mean, like, black people. Thai people can get dark, and they can look like your auntie and uncle. But they're completely different kind of people. Right. So, you know, at the end of the day, when I was living on the island in Phuket, it had its ups and it had its downs. But all in all, I was still very grateful because I did take the time to take a break from a lot of stuff and really just work on myself, continuously work on myself, and grow my baby. Yeah.
Oh, so, like, when you say work on yourself, I think that's a good segue into what I want to talk about. And it's being whole and being authentic. And what exactly does that mean to you? I know being authentic means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, as it should. You know, we should all be walking to the beat of our own drum, walking in our own truth. What did that look like for you? And what type of adversity did you run into? Because I'm assuming you guys didn't have role models. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You know, people who lived the type of lives you did, you know. Yeah, and I didn't either. Most of us didn't. Oh, lucky you.
Right.
Bragging. You don't need to brag.
Well, it is.
Of course.
It's a blessing, yeah.
It's crazy because I didn't realize until I got into the lifestyle. And then I looked back and was like, but my aunts were always like my aunt, she was like a model, and she lived in Paris, and like she was a makeup artist. And my aunt, I got to live with her in California. Like, she, you know, cooked all this different cuisine, and like it was just very cultural being around them.
Yeah.
And they always traveled. And so I didn't realize their influence until later in life. Yeah. Because even my father, like, he was a pilot, he traveled, and he had all kinds of businesses, like, all over the place. But again, I was angry at him, so I didn't realize my influence was there until later.
Yeah.
So I definitely had it there, but you know how you kind of talk yourself into sometimes, like I talk myself into this narrative that I came from a single parent home. It's like, girl, your daddy was there. Like, what are you talking about, right?
I feel you.
Yeah,
so,
I get it.
But I definitely feel like I'm very fortunate because most people don't. Like,
yeah, I certainly didn't. For sure.
Yeah.
So I've had to deal with my whole life of being the black sheep of my family and being the oddball out. And so I had to pull myself up by the bootstrap and build that confidence from scratch. And the confidence where I was confident enough to kind of break through that fear of what are people going to think of me, or, you know, how are they going to judge me, things of that nature, to the point now where I'm living in my truth. Did you have to experience some of that as well, Divinity Shine?
Yes, I had to experience a whole lot of that. Yeah, I was the black sheep. I still am the black sheep. I know no one else in my family that is the black sheep like me. Like,
wait, so since you have been walking, because you've been walking in your own truth for a while now, for at least a couple of years now.
Yeah.
You don't find that the people around you are slowly but surely becoming more inspired in living their own truth? Because thankfully that's what's happening to me, slowly but surely. You know, in my community of my sphere of influence, people are asking me little by little for tips, you know, or do you think I can actually, you know, be a painter like I've always wanted to be, or, you know, something like that.
Beautiful, yeah.
So you're not experiencing that?
My family is not. No, they're not coming to me like.
Really?
Yeah, like, what can I do to da da da. I mean, I've had actually maybe a younger cousin reach out to me, but I'm the oldest, so everyone above me is like just aunties. Like, I don't have any like greater cousins and stuff like that. Like, I was one of the first sets to be, you know, up here. So, right, yeah. So the younger ones are slowly coming through, but No, not really. And nobody really talks about what I do. I don't really talk to them about what I do. I keep them kind of out of it because my family is like strictly Christian and I'm not Christian. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they don't dislike me. They don't push me to the side or treat me differently. But we don't talk about the stuff that I do and how, you know, I live my life. But as far as on the spiritual side, but on the physical side, like when I in Thailand and, you know, traveling and stuff like that, you know, they just accept and keep going. Like, I don't know.
They don't
My
make it a big
weird.
deal. I guess that's not bad either,
deal.
you know. It's not because they're not judging you or criticizing you or, you know, or trying to stop you from living your life.
No, they never tried to stop me. They do try to give me pointers, but it's always like, stay in America, get a job, get a house, get a car.
Practical life.
Right. So, and they don't get that, you know, that it's just not of me. So, yeah.
I get it. And, I mean, lucky for you, you do have a support system. So, and you guys seem to be very aligned with one another. So, that's always good because, like, for me, I'm, for the most part, single. It's a different podcast episode.
Okay. That's a beautiful thing too, though.
It is.
You know,
I
have nothing against single people and doing their thing. Okay.
but I'm saying though, you have a great support system. So even if you have family over here that's not really paying attention to what you're doing, you're not very aligned with them, you have someone with which you
well, that's
are.
why I wanted that. Yeah, that's why I manifested that because purposely because I realized, like, when I tell you, I actually have a diary where I listed attributes that I wanted in my man, and he met most of them. So I think maybe one he didn't meet, but yeah. So I had to do a lot of work manifesting, you know, my partner, because I realized if I want to do this, you know, I don't want to do it alone, and I do want that support.
Now, you do know a natural follow-up question to what you just said, right?
What?
How did you manifest
How did I
get
that a lot. How did I
a lot of people are going to want that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest, don't think that when you manifest this man that it's not going to come with no problems. Y'all not going to have no issues. That was me. Like, I'm going to manifest my golden man and nothing's ever no
problems ever.
Right. Even though he matched everything on the list, we're still two different people coming as one.
Right.
So there are always going to be some ups and downs. And I think that's with any and everybody in relationship.
Yeah,
but how I manifested that was I literally, like, I have an ancestor altar. I speak to my ancestors. I give my offerings. And I talk to them and I say what I want and I write down what I want and I work my magic on it. So I wouldn't say that I put some juju on him or nothing. I wouldn't say that. I just really put out there into the universe what I wanted and just kept saying, can you bring that to me?
That's good old alchemy.
Yeah.
I keep saying that because I consider myself an alchemist very much, and I feel like that's exactly what it is, manipulating energies. A lot of people think manipulating is a bad word. It's not. You know, it could be used for bad intention, but it can be used for good intention as well. So, yeah, manipulating energies is what alchemy is all about. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Charette, my darling. You've been quiet over there, which is not like you.
I'm just listening.
Taking a lot in. I know. What is authenticity to you? I'm going to ask you the same question.
For me, it's always just been staying in my happy place in love. Because I think, you know, you can be dark, you can be light, but if you're in love, like, it's always right.
Yeah.
So that's
catchy.
Oh, right.
Put that on t-shirt, girl.
Right.
Trademark that.
Right. Don't nobody take that now. But I remember, like, when I started out, that was like my biggest thing. Like, I just want, like, love was just so important to me. And so it's been, even like in talking to my mom about my birth story, like, it kind of made sense why I like to be alone, like I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And so just always coming from this place of love, even if I gotta cut your motherfucking ass out, like, it's coming from a place of love. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just staying there, because that's who I am. Like, I'm the universe, I'm the earth, and that's love. Like, whether it's dry and it's winter or spring or whatever, if I can just function from that place, like, I feel like that's always going to be my authentic self.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. So, I want to move on to something that is I don't want to call it a cancer within spirituality, but fake positivity. And pseudo. I'm just get right into it.
Hop right in, girl.
Right.
Let's get it.
Pseudo spirituality. There's a lot of that, especially in these days where, you know, all things spirituality, it's becoming very, very popular, which is a great thing, of course. But with that comes a lot of
Scammers.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Y'all just like jumped right in.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to offend, and but
see, that's speaking in your truth, and that's one thing that we do have to do a lot more is know that we will offend people.
Yeah,
and we are not for everybody,
100%.
and that's right. So yeah, you got to call it like it is, and I had to come to that realization that I have to call it like it is and keep it moving.
Absolutely, that's really literally what you have to do, and that's hard for me because I'm an empath. Right? Serious empath. So I get secondhand embarrassment or secondhand, pressure. I mean, whatever. I get it really, really bad. So when I'm being real with you and I know that you're going to be offended, even before you're offended, I start feeling it for you. And then when you start feeling it, I start feeling it as if you're feeling it, Yeah. So it's hard for me because I try to remind myself of everything you just said, literally on a daily basis, but it's hard to hurt people's feelings. Even when you have the best intention, because I always have the best intention, but it's tough. It really is.
Yeah.
Everyone is not receiving to constructive criticism.
Right. But I can't let that stop me. Sharetta's like, girl.
I like to think that I am because I like to better myself. So, I try to tell people, this is good for you. Yeah. This will elevate you.
Right.
So, but it's hard. People get defensive.
Exactly. Very much so. So, pseudo spirituality is something that has come up, this love and light world, where you're not allowed to be angry if you're spiritual. You're not allowed to have real emotions, just that.
A bunch of bull.
It really is.
Because that's how I was when I first started.
I think we all were because we thought we had to be that way.
Right.
And then you start to realize, like, nah, I got to let this anger out or else, like, I'm going to bust somebody in the head. Like,
somebody's ass going to get smacked.
Right.
Okay.
Because we have all these feelings for a reason and trying to suppress them does nothing but build up and blow up.
Did I not just say that?
Yes.
I said that very same thing.
Y'all, that must be my word for today.
Yes,
Y'all don't understand.
Right.
I was talking to my friend and she was just expressing how someone told her, like, when you're crying, fuck tissue. Like, it's safe for you to cry here. Like, it's okay to cry. That thing almost made me cry. Because it's like so many times you feel like, why am I crying all the time? Girl, because you need to.
It's a release.
Like, clearly you need to release something.
It's a release.
Like, I don't need to feel bad about crying or feeling
Not
angry.
at all.
Like, I'm feeling this way for a reason. Let me be okay in my feelings.
I compare that to, I feel like it's emotional diarrhea. You're not going to hold in diarrhea.
Yeah.
You can't.
You don't have a choice.
Exactly. And just like tears, you can't hold it in, so why would you even try? That's silly. It's a release. How do you feel after diarrhea? You
Girl, so much better, girl. My stomach been like, Lord,
thank
you feel clean. Not like so serious.
Lord.
Yeah.
No, like I'm so serious though. Like that's what I always compare it to. It's like, why are you trying to hold anything in? It's literally a release.
Right.
You're literally watering your soul, and you're literally speaking. You're speaking to your cells, and you're speaking for your cells when you can't articulate what your cells want to say. So and that brings about like a renewal, a refreshment of sorts. So it's like. Yeah, I don't see the issue in crying at all. I feel like it's very necessary. Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah. So on the outside looking in, people don't really realize that it's not all love and light, peace and happiness. Like there's a lot of toxicity that you have to pull away from and even pull out of yourself.
Yes.
Sometimes anger is necessary. So, Sherette, how do you get through those dreadful times?
I think it's been different for me. Like, one side of it, like, getting rid of the people has been so motherfucking easy. I feel so blessed. Yes. Like, people are removing themselves from my life at this point, and I love it. Like, I had a conversation with an associate, and she was trying to, like, reconnect, and it just, in my mind, I was like, yo, this is, like, the end. I knew it because I was like, this doesn't serve me anymore. And we just never talked again.
Wow.
And it's awesome. If I see her out, I swear I'll give her a hug. Hey, girl, I want the best for her.
Right.
Still love her dearly. But it's like, yo, I don't need you around here. Because when I'm leveling up, like, I don't need no bottom shelf levels.
No
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But within myself, child, that's another story. Getting rid of that toxicity.
Yeah.
It's been, for me, like you were saying, though, self-love has been so important. I feel like I was telling her the November of last year, I went on my first fast. It was like all liquid for 30 days. And then my 30th birthday, I went on a road trip in the Yucatan Peninsula. And like that was my birthday. So it was like right behind each other. And I just was able to like settle into myself. Because my gut didn't hurt for the first time. I didn't feel nothing in my body. It was just cool. And I just started to love myself. Yeah. It was like whatever felt good, I would do that. And so when I'm trying to get rid of toxicity now, I have to go back to that space. Yeah. And that's what kind of took me to chasing the waterfalls. Like I started going to waterfalls.
Waterfalls will do that. That's how I started.
It renews my soul. And it's like everything that I don't need, just let it flow. Y'all just take it away and let it flow and let me continue to flow.
Right.
So I try to like flow in the darkness and like really feel it so I can just let it go. And the next time it's like, I don't know. Have you guys ever read the book Untethered Soul?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
Okay, that is an amazing book. He said something to me that struck me, but he was like, things like emotional events in your life should be like if you're riding down a highway. You know how you pass by the trees and you can be like, oh, the tree's beautiful, but you pass it and you think nothing of it anymore. Yeah. Like I just want things to fly off. Yeah. Like you call me a bitch, whatever, you know, like, so that's where I'm trying to like flow to, where like things are coming at me and they're just gone. They're nothing but like a tree. Yeah, there's no attachment. Right. No, like, they're just going. You're just watching. Because it's all a stage. It's a beautiful symphony to just watch.
I love that word, symphony. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And we are included in that symphony. Yes, well, with all of our emotions, all of our actions. It's all a beautiful symphony. Yes. So that's really dope. I like that. So what about you, my dear?
I just want to say, you know, as newbies starting out in this whole spirituality thing of self-love and, you know, just doing what makes you happy, that's the first thing that people think that they need to go to is this peace, love, and light. And they feel like they need to be on this, you know, oh, I can't do nothing else but just, you know, put out good vibes, so I only get good vibes. Right. And it's kind of just like, listen, girl, you need to first go into yourself and pull out what hurts. Yeah. And you need to work on what is making you feel any type of lesser than, what is taking away your confidence, what is making you feel like you cannot achieve anything, because we're all capable humans. Yeah. So it's like you need to really work on that shadow work and that self-work, because trying to just put out those good vibes when you haven't even worked on yourself and took some attention into what really bothers you.
It's a facade.
Yeah, that's what I feel like is going on. People are just like, I want so much good vibes, so I'm just going to put out good vibes. And they're just really wanting that goodness without taking that time to really do the work for themselves.
What is the work? Like, what do you guys do to do that work?
Well, I be real with myself, honestly. First thing, now in this phase of my life, you know, a little bit of maturity behind, you know, my spiritual journey, I sit and I be real with myself, and I'm like, listen, you did not like that. Listen, you did not like what she said. That bothered you. Can you please speak up about that and state your ground and keep it moving? Like, I don't try to hold anything in anymore. And if you don't like it and you're upset and you're pissed off, well, fuck you. Right. Because you know what? I'm tired of this. Like, I'm so tired of dealing with people and they BS. And I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to be great. Can you be great too? Okay, so
I feel that 100%.
Right.
Like,
so
finding my voice, like, this does bother me. I do want to speak about this. Like, I will not accept this.
Stop accepting BS. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, my sister said this to me and it rang with me. Like somebody said something to her and she literally says, I reject that. Like, I will not take that on.
Oh, wow.
And I had to take that because I was like, yes,
that.
you got to tell people, like, that is not for me.
Right.
Like, no, you will not do this to me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm so right there, like, trying to.
We do so much to try to please others and to look good in the public eye.
Yeah.
I really feel like that's what it is. Trying to look good for people on the social media, around you, in your space, when you really need to start being yourself, and who you piss off is who you piss off, and who you align is who aligns, because
and who's not for you.
Right, because that creates your circle, and that keeps you whole within yourself and on your path.
Yeah.
That's what I feel really, really helps.
That's beautiful.
It gets you, yes, it keeps you on your path. I like that.
And it takes a lot of strength. It took me some time to really figure this out. Like, it took the pain, sweat, and tears to understand that divinity. Don't compromise yourself. Don't compromise yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's absolutely beautiful. Charette, what about you? What tools do you use?
Tools, definitely nature has been, like, big for me. And, like, so I'm a neuromuscular therapist, and releasing my body has done wonders. So I'm big on, like, that spiritual body connection. I feel like that brings me in the center. And really feeling, because I say my past life, but before I just wasn't a person who felt. So that's been really big for me, to just be able to feel. And once I'm able to do that, to look at myself and stop pointing the finger outward. Like, if there is a situation that happens, I'm like, girl, how could you not have, been so closed off to the idea of a conversation? Because before, I was just like, you tell me something about myself, I go the fuck off and say some dumbass shit about you that was true, and then you be feeling some kind of way, you know what I'm saying? So now we ain't talking about me no more. But it's like, stop being a bitch and just be like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's going on with me? What am I doing? So it was a lot of just reflection on myself, because like, you can point fingers all day. There's so much to point at out here. So much. I can point at the reason why I don't start my business or do this is because the sky is blue and the trees are green and there's a baby crying and all this. I'm hungry, whatever. But when you look at yourself, it's like, oh, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of success. I'm afraid of being out here like this, Put yourself out there. Yeah. So it's just, for me, like, always being able to reflect in, like, what's going on, checking in with myself. And then being able to release through my body and through, like, breath and, like, spirit, like, bringing that center, like, my body and my spirit. So, yeah, that's kind of, like, what I use to get through it. But
yeah, I can definitely relate to that, because I definitely use everything that you ladies are saying. For me, introspection is definitely key. I am my worst critic, but not without being my best critic as well. I am brutally honest with myself at all times. I will never, ever, ever blame another soul until I look at myself first. And interestingly enough, I actually find that if I have an issue with another person, I can see all types of flaws, legitimate flaws in that other person. But when I turn it back on myself, and I not only become aware of what's going on with me that's causing it, because that other person is simply a reflection of what's going on inside of me anyway. Exactly. So when I look at that, I become aware of that, and then I fix that within myself. Almost always, I'll say 99% of the time, that person's behavior changes without me having to say anything to them. And that's magic, you know?
Yeah, that is magic.
And so, yeah, that's my go-to for sure is, self-reflection, as Charette said. That's definitely number one. And then just keeping that energy flowing. I know earlier Charette and I were talking about clustered energy, and not honoring your emotions, because your emotions just want to be heard. They just want to be acknowledged. Right. So anytime I have a feeling, a hard emotion, I sit in stillness and I let it pass through. I let those thoughts wander. I let it do what it wants to do until it passes. I honor that, and I just intuitively go with the flow, go with every next step. So I think like we have a lot of good stuff that we do, and people just kind of have to do trial and error. And learn their own ways of coping and of working through those negative emotions and, things of that nature. So.
Right. And I will say, in the beginnings for me, it was definitely nature. Being out in the trees.
That is another.
Being out
I
in
love
the
water.
trees. Yeah. I did
Green,
do a lot of
greenery.
waterfall hiking. Around Georgia and Tennessee and stuff, and I could send you some stuff where you can go to.
Good.
I want some stuff too.
Yeah. Like I used to, and that's what really helped me, you know. And then as time progressed, I just, you know, like I said, started being real with myself because I would bite my tongue a lot and just, you know, tiptoe around so many things in the name of love and light. So,
right.
Exactly.
So now I'm just, you know, like I said, I'm just like, listen, let's just be real. Let's just be truthful. And then also, I have started to incorporate singing bowls.
Tibetan singing bowls.
Tibetan singing
love
bowls.
them.
I have one. I have been like, when I play it and I sit, you know, that's one way I get to my center.
Yeah.
As you use sound healing, whatever way that can, whatever sound healing tool you like. For me, it was the bowl. It really called out to me, and it just sounded so, I don't know, euphoric, and that's all. It was just wonderful. So for me, if I need to get back to a center or get some sleep or calm down, just, you know, bang on that bowl a little bit.
Right. Have you heard of solfeggio harmonics?
I have not.
No, like the like 528 hertz.
Yeah.
What's another one? 963 hertz. Like the healing sounds. I like a lot of those as well. I find that just especially 528 hertz. That's probably my favorite. That, and I think it's a 634 hertz. But it's about clearing your heart chakra, and it's about keeping that energy flowing. So that's one of my favorites as well. But those Tibetan singing bowls as well, it's like you said, the sound is euphoric.
Grounds me, like
it's literally grounding.
It
literally.
You should really get one for yourself if you don't have one, because listen, you can play it for yourself when you are just stressed out.
Yeah, big time.
I've been trying to like ground my energy more in my yoni and like my sexual life. That's been interesting though, because before I was just out here, like I was just having sex, like it didn't mean nothing. So like I feel like there's still a part of me that has to like forgive myself, because now that I'm getting more in tune with like what my womb means to me, like she's everything.
Right.
Are you
literally
trying to do some healing work within your womb?
Yes, I think too, it's being more in tune with regarding her at all times, because that is my ground. Like when we talk about coming from my grounding space, like our core is like, we think of our core as like the stomach area, but like it's the womb and like it's all of that. So like just being more aware. I feel like I was more frivolous. So just becoming more aware and making it stronger. I feel like within like the physicalities, I feel like there was a lot of doubt that I had in myself, and a lot of it's hard to say that I had a low self-esteem, but I feel like my vibrations towards myself were low. But now it's like, to raise that, I'm finding that becoming physically strong is helping, because I couldn't trust myself because I couldn't trust my body. Like if I had to run for my life, I would not make it.
Wow.
If I had to pull myself up, I literally could not. So like to be able to physically pull myself up, to physically like do something, is really helping me, like to physically take my womb and like make it tight and make it strong. Like when I'm sitting, it really like brings all that in for me.
Do you utilize yoni eggs?
I
was
do.
just about to say that.
I love her. I just got it.
Which one what kind of crystal?
I have a rose quartz.
That's what I started with.
Yeah, I think we all start with the rose quartz.
Consider a black obsidian.
I've seen
that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a popular
one. I've used it, and it does work to pull out. It's a lot of gook and a lot of mess. Like it's serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I started wearing waist beads and stuff, and I find that when I'm in like struggling times in my life, they always break.
Really?
Yes. And
I got a story about some waist bead popping.
We want to hear it. We want to hear it.
Girl, listen, I be knowing a lot of I always say juju. That's the best way.
Right.
I've been knowing a lot of juju people around the A. So I was gifted one by a guy who does juju. Who I was a little bit of relations with him, but yeah, stuff like that. So, you know, he had gifted me one, and then I met my partner now. And you know who I'm with. And so when I was with him and as we were in intercourse, it popped.
Yep.
Really?
Yes. And I was like, how did that happen?
Because it was supposed to.
How did that happen? Right, because it wasn't like an elastic or nothing. It was like the rope kind.
Yeah.
Like, you have to cut that for it to pop. So I was like...
I feel like they always pop for a reason. Like, it's saving you from something. It's breaking energy. Like, they always pop for a reason.
That was a release of energy. I know now. It was like, okay, no more of him.
Right. Yeah. Like, this is it, girl.
Yeah.
Did you understand that in the moment, or it was in hindsight where you were like, oh, okay, I understand why they broke me. I understand the
I kind of felt that in the moment, and as time progressed, it like solidified. But yeah, it definitely was like, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah, that's odd. Wow. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't mean to digress, but I do want to talk about balance a little bit, right?
Okay.
We live in a world where it's nearly impossible to live completely off the grid. I'm sure you guys know. How do you maintain balance of living in the real world while maintaining alignment within your authenticity? I know we were talking earlier about like the yin and the yang. You getting tired? I'm kidding.
Girl, I'm burping. Scares me.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about like the yin and the yang and the embracing. What did you say, Divinity?
Embracing yourself, or embracing like
your shadow self.
Yeah, your shadow side. You're doing your shadow work. Yeah.
Right. So there's balance in a lot of that. I know personally, I have so many different sides. Like, I'm literally every woman. Like, shout out to Whitney Houston. But I knew Sherelle was about to say.
Yes.
It's all in me.
No, but like I literally feel that way, right?
Yeah.
And there's been some parts of me that I really don't want to let go.
Right.
And I don't feel that I should. I don't feel that I should at all. So it's like learning, but some of that, you know, at least in the eyes of society, some of it contradicts each other, you know? So I'm in a place where I'm trying to kind of find the happy medium between all of it as a woman and as a black woman, because I think black women are very unique in that we do have different identities within ourselves. We can be multiple, you know, multiple identities and carry it all well. Exactly. We carry it all so well. So I'm learning how to embrace my goddess womanhood, my goddess black womanhood, and being all that I can be, and not submitting to the box that people are trying to consistently put me in. Right. Because that's what society always tries to do. They try to box you in. Well, you are a spiritual person, so you should act like this, that, and the other. Right. You shouldn't be doing that, and that over there. I could be
spiritual and have booty shorts.
Right. Exactly. As I do now.
Right.
Okay.
Had to point that out.
Right. Yes. But yeah, so how do you maintain, I don't know who wants to speak first, but how do you guys maintain your alignment and your authenticity with like living in the real world? And especially you, Divinity, because, you know, you living in Thailand, that's completely, I mean, I won't say it's off the grid, but it seems like it's a bit off the grid. Yeah. And then you have to come back to America and readjust. So
I will say this. Being able to travel to many different places around the globe has really shown me that all this stuff that goes on in America here that people say we have to be and have to do and what makes sense.
Bullshit.
Yes. Complete and utter BS. You can define yourself however you choose to. And you can adjust and adapt to whatever you choose to do. And first of all, there's a lot of stuff that many of us feel drawn to, feel called to, from ancestral DNA, from just, you know, even just seeing things. You might see something on the internet and you're like, wow, I love that place. Really I would love to go that. Right. So for me, it's like, I just block out all of that and I accept being weird. For one, I accept that I'm weird to others.
That's what I say. Yeah.
I accept that people don't get me. Yeah. They are kind of just like, what's going on in her world? You know, I just have complete and total understanding and acceptance that I am not you and you are not me. Mm-hmm. So let's just be who we want to be.
Yeah, exactly. And and that's been really hard for me because I've always kind of been shut out for like being super quirky, super bubbly, super weird. But I'm learning that that is my uniqueness. You know, that's what makes me stand out. So like, why would you want to blend in? And that's super cliche, but it's true. Like, why would you want to blend in with the crowd? Like, I'm happy to be quirky. And big shout out to Issa Rae because she really she really shed a light on the whole awkward black girl movement. That's so me. Like,
bitch, I be in the mirror too.
Right.
Mirror bitch. Yes.
I love Issa Rae for that.
Yes, big shout out to her.
Yes. So, Sherette, same question.
I am so blessed. I have had a life where like I've always been different and everyone's just let me be. They be like, leave that girl alone. She's just special. You know? Bless her heart and her feet, you know, like so my family's been so supportive of me being like this different kid, like, and it is. And so that part for me has it still hasn't been quote unquote easy, but it's definitely been different from most people. Mm-hmm. Now it's more like me connecting back to who I am in that state. I went through a period where, like I said, I was talking about, I came from a single home. My parents divorced in middle school and I wasn't able to see my father, which he's my quote unquote stepdad, but he's like my daddy. Yeah. And so I became a raging bitch. Like I was mad, like fuck my mom and all these people in the world. Like I want to see my daddy. Yeah. And so it's more connecting back to who I was and who I was allowed to be and not letting my emotions make me someone else who's different. Has been kind of my journey. But I've always been a source of inspiration for people around me and my family. So I've been so blessed because it's just been something I grew up with. I was always able to be different and just, be me, and just hug everybody, like it's always been like, oh, that's just Amber. Like people tell me when they see me at 30, they're like, you're just like you were when you were 6. I'm like, thank God,
Yeah, you've been true to yourself.
I love that. Yeah, most people don't have it, or not that lucky. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That is beautiful.
So we're all living lives by our own design, right? We're walking to the beat of our own drums. Give me the sound effect.
Yeah.
I know. What does that look like, practically speaking, for you all? Like on a daily basis, you have you're raising children. You have one and one on the way, of course, and then and your partner as well.
Got a money in the hand.
Right. Traveling, we all travel. Just different lifestyles that we tend to live. What does life look like for you all on a daily basis?
Well, for me, my life is really, for right now, just trying to figure out where we want to stay in the world, because we realize that America is not for us, so you have to go out there and you have to experience other places to see what you like. So we've been planning for Senegal and moving to Senegal, and
I love that idea.
I'm really happy to get back to my African roots because I do have Senegal ancestry. I did take a DNA test and I do have ancestors from there, so I'm very excited to go. So we've just been planning and doing stuff like that, and I've been just life for me every day now to an alignment with that, besides planning, is giving thanks to my ancestors, doing their altar table, making sure they eat, and being in prayer and giving thanks, and taking care of myself and my family. Trying not to go crazy with the baby. Right.
How old is he?
He's 1.5, and
he's about to hit those terrible twos.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm bringing the food now. Because I'm a sweetheart. I'm very sweet to him. He's mad at the food. Like, I'm like, I'm coming. That's why you saw me give him that pizza as soon as I got. I'm like,
let me give him this pizza real quick. Hold on, y'all.
Right. A vegan pizza, because my baby is vegan. My baby is vegan.
Yay. Okay, so that's another thing. So you're vegan as well. What brought you to that?
Yeah, a long time ago, in the beginnings of my journey, I had went raw vegan, and a lot of spiritual things just shot out for me. Like, I was hearing people, and I was like experiencing so many spiritual things, and it was just a lot for me to take in. So then I had to stop being vegan. Because I was like, I'm too wide open when I'm vegan.
Wow.
So now I'm getting back to it. And, yeah, it's going great. I mean, I know how to cook. I've been cooking for a very long time, since I was like 10. So it's just all about getting those recipes. And my husband, you know, he likes to be vegan. So he loves to eat vegan and natural foods and juicing and stuff. So the whole family is in on it. It's just...
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like, so I was fully vegan for almost a year. I'm currently not vegan. However, I consider myself a vegan who eats meat. No, I'm kidding. But I still incorporate a lot of vegan recipes in my diet for sure.
Yeah.
I just eat, I eat meat. I eat chicken, fish, and turkey. But I'm very much a conscious eater because I'm, definitely certain that what you put into your body, makes a difference, especially when you talk about energy. Speaking of which, can you pass me the pizza, please? We're in the... I brought... what is this called again, Charette? Plant-based Pizzeria.
Plant-based Pizzeria. Go check them out.
Yeah,
They're
I haven't
off of
even
Ponce
tasted...
de Leon.
Really?
In
No.
Midtown.
Really?
Oh, yeah, off of there. Okay, because they're on Barnett.
And they have
Ponce.
the
Is that
bomb
new?
desserts.
In Atlanta.
Yes,
new?
relatively, yes.
Hey, because I was like, I used to work out there, and I didn't see that.
You didn't see
Girl,
it?
yeah, they're pretty new. And they're fucking delicious.
And they're very helpful too.
Yes.
Ponce de Leon in Atlanta, Georgia. Check it out.
Yes.
It's kind of cold now, but I'm still gonna take.
I
like
bet
a
you
little
I'll
gonna
take
be
a
that
slice
bomb.
too. Then we're eating.
You gonna wait till I get some?
Right?
I took a bite before I came in.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'll
"Oh, this
pass
is
it.
yummy."
Yeah, you liked it?
Yeah.
Did you want a slice?
I sure.
Are you busting it wide open with us?
I sure live.
I love them. Did you see
This
all
is
the
the meat
desserts
lovers.
they had too?
I was tempted to get
Girl,
one,
them
but I was like,
whoopie
come on
pie
now.
things. Jesus. Girl.
I was definitely tempted to get some of the desserts, but I was like, nah, let's just start off with the pizza.
I feel you.
I'm watching calories right now.
Calorie watching. Yay,
So-
thank you.
You're welcome.
Charette, what about you? As far as your lifestyle is concerned, what does that look like for, like, on a day-to-day basis for you?
So I have been working on changing my mindset. I read this book, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. And I also signed up for like these webinars that were about like finances. And so one thing hit me. It was like, so I got to a place, I'm a neuromuscular therapist, and I was making a lot of money when I came out of school, relatively. And I can't tell you where the fuck it went. I didn't go on no trips. Like, I don't know what the fuck I did, okay? So, I got to this point where it's like, I charge $120 an hour, and I was just getting like real bougie about my income. Like, oh, you want to pay me $25 an hour? Fuck you. That's not enough. So I was reading the book, and it was speaking on sending the universe mixed messages. Like, you're like, universe, I want money. But then as soon as the universe is like dropping you like $30 in your life, you're like, no, that's not enough. Right. And it's like, come back to the basics. So I was in this mode where I was not working. I was really just chilling and everything was coming to me. And I kind of switched to this work mode. But it's still not how most people's is. Like, I still don't wake up with an alarm clock. That's one of my biggest things. I don't want to wake up to an alarm clock. Or if I do wake up to an alarm clock, being okay with shutting it off and going the fuck back to sleep.
Right.
And making it so that my body is rested, and that's when I'm getting up. That's been like a big thing. Also taking naps. I fucking love naps. I feel like they recharge me, and they're so necessary. And trying to eat better. I've sucked at that this last month, but typically I cook a lot. And so it's one of the things, like, I've been like in a rocky emotional time, and what I'm seeing is that sometimes when I'm in a rut, I'll run from all the things that make me feel better. Like I was telling you earlier, and people tell me what I tell them, like, girl, you need to make sure you have water and stretch, because I tell that to people, and I be like, F you, you don't know my life. Like, I'm just gonna sit here
like, I want to
on
hear
the
that
couch.
Right.
And cooking makes me happy. I love it. I love to have people over and like,
me too.
Yeah, like it really makes me happy. And so I really like not cooked for almost a month.
Why do we do that?
I don't
like,
know.
As
like,
humans, we, like you just said, we run from the things that we love when we're, in a negative space.
I was thinking negative towards it though, because one of the things with me cooking, sometimes I feel like, damn, all y'all want to eat, y'all want to help. So I make it a negative space for me.
That makes sense.
By putting it off on other people. When really it's like, even if y'all wasn't here, I was still gonna cook this, right? And just as much because I love to have leftovers. So like I be kidding myself. Okay, let that seasoning seep in. So. Yeah, but cooking, I want to get into gardening, but I haven't yet.
So do I.
But yeah, I believe in shared economy. So, like my house, I do Airbnb. My guests pay for my house. Like, I rent a car and live. So, like, my riders pay for the car. I'm just in this mode of sharing and being more communal.
It's amazing.
That's very, very smart of you.
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
Say that, okay?
Very effective.
If you got
also.
all that together, why not?
Right.
Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I could take off 14, 16 days to go on a trip. I'm trying to get up to like move in places for months, but it's like just reorganizing my life so that it's not so mine, and I can share and open up so that I can do more.
Wow.
So that when I do have, even when I get all of these millions of dollars, I still want to fucking share. Because what is my million if it's just me?
Right.
That's how I was.
Yeah.
That's how I was like, I want to travel and do all this stuff, but I don't want to be alone and just like, because I did a lot of stuff alone. And after doing that, like I said, we'll go waterfall hiking and doing all that. Like I did that alone. I'll be out 2 hours away in the middle of the woods alone. So it was kind of just like, I love this, it's beautiful, but where are the people to share it with?
Yeah. For me, it's about the memories, because when I first began traveling, I did a lot of solo traveling. I still do a lot of solo traveling. And just as you say, Divinity, it's like, for me, it's the lack of memories with other people. I have so many amazing memories with people that I'll never see again, like friends that I made, and, or just me by myself. But I want to be able to look back with someone and go, remember that time?
Right. That was so great, girl.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel you. So, what is your advice, or what advice do you have for someone who is afraid and doesn't know where to start when it comes to designing their own life and walking in their own truth?
I got.
How can they get started?
How can you get started on walking in your truth and designing it? For one, trying everything that interests you. I mean, even if it's just a slow, like, even if you want to dance, you want to go parasailing somewhere, you want to try everything that interests you and see what blossoms from there. Like, I feel like we stop ourselves from doing so many things because we're scared or people won't accept it. But if you solely focus on what brings you a little bit of happiness, then that's what I would go with.
And to piggyback on that, I would say, don't stop or don't give up when you don't find those things that you're passionate about, because a lot of people, when finding themselves, they'll try a lot of those things and then be like, okay, well, nothing really sticks out, and they'll kind of give up and then just go back to their regular lives. And I'm just like, you're going to have a lot of trial and error, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And that's especially when you talk about working in passion projects, or what do you want to do as a career. When you talk about designing your own life, you're gonna have a lot of failures, and that's just it's just what it is. So life. Exactly. So don't give up. Like, just keep trying things until something sticks out, for sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Sherette? What do you say?
That's kind of it. Like, I feel like you have to want the change so bad that you get tired and you just jump. Like, I always say that
is so true.
When we do new things, we're always going off a ledge, right? And so we're used to getting pushed off the ledge, and then it's like, oh, the universe has me, God got me. And we have faith in that, and then we move on, and then we get pushed again. Like, at some point, you just have to try till you get so tired, you're like, fuck this, I'm jumping.
Yeah.
Because when you take control to jump, like, the world opens up to you, and like, you just literally fall in your destiny. I feel like literally and to get, and it's just like when you jump off a height, like the getting up there is treacherous.
Right.
Treacherous. Okay?
Treacherous.
And then you have that moment where you know, like I say that your dreams aren't big enough unless you're scared to do it.
Right.
And you know that first time that you do it, you will know. And then as soon as you're airborne, like your stomach drops and then it's like pure ecstasy. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to get to the place where you're ready and you don't even have to be ready. Fuck that. You don't have to be ready. Just jump.
Right? Because when are we really ready?
Never.
Right.
Never.
Right.
You can always come up with an excuse of why you're not ready. It's never a good time.
Never.
But the one thing I will say about living how I want is that it feels so damn good. Like, I feel like the world be giving me hugs, y'all. Like, legit.
Yeah, literally.
I feel like I be waking up, even when my lowest of low days, like, I can be, there was a day that I was just crying and crying. I was just so sad. And somebody just called me up randomly and was like, you're just so beautiful. And they told me all the great things about myself. And then I cried some more. And I was like, oh, I give thanks so much. Because it's like, I didn't have that before, but it's because I was blocked off to it. Mm-hmm. So when you jump, you just become open and everything that you need comes to you. It doesn't, necessarily is like all peaches and roses all the time, but it fucking happens. Right. And that's what matters. Like, we like to talk in time and things, and it's really results. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't matter if it took however long it took. It just matters that you're happy.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, live in that. Be there.
And then as far as, jumping, you're literally jumping into the unknown. And I think that's the scariest part, is you don't know where you're going to end up.
Are you gonna sink? Are you going to float?
Right, exactly.
And that goes back to it. When you jump and you fall in, all you got to do is let go and you're going to fucking float. We're floaters. We're swimmers.
Even
like,
if you
naturally.
do sink at first, once you let go,
up.
you come back up.
You just got to let go. Jump and let the fuck go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it all,
Yep.
So, all of this sounds fine and dandy, and it's our reality.
Yeah.
Right.
But what do you say to the people who, they have bills to pay? They have children to raise. They have, partners to take care of. Parents.
Girl, we do too. What?
Okay.
But you guys are so far along. Like, you were already far along in your spiritual journey before you had your first child, right?
Yeah,
Divinity.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've created something around your son that supports how you choose. Right. So a lot of people have kids that are, I don't know, let's just say like 6, 7, 8 years old.
That's a struggle, yes.
Yeah, it's a struggle. So what advice would you give those people who, they just have things to do. They have responsibilities to take care of, but they want to jump. But it's like, how can I jump? Because when you are, sinking deep into credit, into a debt rather. Right. And, you have a job that you need so you can pay the bill, so you can keep a, roof over your child's head. It's like you're trapped at every angle, and that's literally like the American way. Right.
Is
to keep you trapped in that hamster wheel. Right. So it's like, how do you get out of that hamster wheel and start living your life? What would you guys say to that?
I would say to that, you have to first have that determination and that drive. You have to first put it within yourself and say, you know what? I'm ready to make a change. Mm-hmm. So once you get that going and you realize that you're ready and you're ready to, to get it going, you have to start planning. Mm-hmm. You have to start, writing stuff out. A lot of people don't think about writing out a plan and really step by step by step. You can be like, okay, today I'm going to try to sell these things that I don't need anymore and stack this money to the side. Mm-hmm. Or today we're going to, meditate. I'm going to try to introduce my kids to sitting and being still so that we can have some peace within ourselves as we go about this change. Right. Like, it's little baby steps. Like, I think people want instant gratification with what they want to do, but it's honestly, when you have kids and you have a partner or you have a husband, you literally have to plan and take those steps and say, I'm doing X, Y, Z this week, this week, this week, and this week.
And break it down to however small you need to make it, doable for you,
And let go of what people say or what they're going to feel about you, because everybody's going to have something negative to say about what you're about to do. Everybody's not about to be on board. Nobody's going to support you. Like, you might find few that will support you, but don't expect everyone to just understand your goal, your dream, and your desire.
Right.
So you have to really execute for yourself, support you yourself, your husband, your family, your partner, really come together and work it out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100%. What about you, Sherette? What do you say? What advice do you have?
I would say to think outside the box. Because you don't have to dive headfirst into everything. Like, I still work my job on Sundays. And people can call it what they want, like fear not to get out here and do whatever. But I have a travel company, and I've had my travel company for 3 years. We've been taking trips, and I still haven't branded. Mm-hmm. And I just never felt like it was the time, which, again, you can go to, it's never right time. But literally in this last year, I've had a team of 10 people surround me and be like, we want to do this. Wow. So now it's like, I'm still terrified, but I know it's time. And so it's like, people think like, oh, as soon as I get this, I need a website and I need this. It's like, no, I just started taking trips. Mm-hmm. And like my first trip, it was a fuck up. Like, I fucked up. Okay. And my cousin was on it and he saved me. And he was just like, yo, cuz, just be honest, like, I got you. Woo-de-woo. And that's how it happened. Cause I was about to lose everything, y'all. Like,
but that support.
It was support, yeah. And just knowing that whatever you are destined to do, someone out here needs that. Right. Like, from 100%. You being scared and not starting on whatever, you are blocking not only your blessings, mm-hmm. but people out here who need you. Mm-hmm. And so just understanding that maybe it is only one day you work on this thing, but you have to just start. You don't have to jump all the way in there. And just being able to think outside the box. Like, I remember when I started my journey, one of my first things was I don't want to work no more. I had people living in my house, and I would go to work every day, and they wouldn't. And I would come home, and they had a roof over their head and food in their bellies, and they were happy at my fucking house while I was working. And I wasn't mad at them, but I was like, dude, if I don't work, somebody's got me. That's the message I took. So I just was like, you know what? I don't want to pay bills no more. And I didn't. And it led me down to some crazy ass fucking situations. But and when I say that, they weren't the most crazy. It was just I had to share. I had to share a house with 5 other people or whatever. Or maybe you and your sister can team up, or your best friend. But like, sharing has changed my life financially.
I like that you keep using the term sharing.
Yeah.
Because that's making me look at that like with a different perspective.
Yeah.
It's softening it up.
Yeah, because you're always, rent's gonna be due on the first every month. Right. So if you want a place to stay, why not, instead of paying $900, pay $450? Mm-hmm. Okay. You just share. Mm-hmm. And that's how, because we see all these other people come from all these other places and make it here. But I feel like in America, we've been injected into this mine mindset. Yeah. Like, I was around kids, I think it was my niece, and she just walked by a random inanimate object and she grabbed it and was like, mine. And I was like, what the hell? But think about it from like a child's perspective, what they see from adults, right? Like, you're like, it's my house, it's my car, it's mine. Mm-hmm. So it's like, no wonder why she's walking by random shit like mine, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that's me in my life, because it's not mine. Like, if it's our house, now I don't have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. I can just clean it. And I like that a lot better. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely get you on that. Yeah. It's like we're pressured to want our own. Right. We're pressured to feel like everything has to be independent. Right. And that's, for some reason, seems like it's only our culture, And I think this conversation has been had a lot in like a lot of different circles. But you look at, Hispanics, for example, they know how to come together like no other, know. A lot of other ethnicities and cultures can do that. But for some reason, when it comes to Black Americans, because, Africans, they are amazing. Right. Yeah, they definitely work together. But Black Americans, it's crabs in a barrel.
Well, I think, first of all, because I say this all the time, like, when you think about crabs in a barrel, like, they're not fucking supposed to be there. Yeah, so I know. And I love that. Yeah, like, they're not supposed to be in the barrel. That's
who put them in the barrel?
Like that, right. So I feel like, though, we don't have the conversation that I feel like a lot of us are indigenous. Like, I feel like, yes, we were brought over on a boat from Africa. There's no lie there. But the amount of people, I don't believe. And I think that because even if you go to these different countries, they'll tell you if you ask them, like, who are the indigenous people, they can point you exactly to the group and they're still there. Right. And when you look at, like, who we are, I feel like a lot of the detachment from the land that we have of, oh, you need to go back to Africa. But like, if you go to Africa, you'll understand that we are still different people, even though we're from the motherland. Yeah. Like, because for instance, when you go to the Caribbean, there's a difference between like when you go to Haiti, for instance, and then when you go to like Grenada. Right. Like Grenadians, they're like Grenadians. Like Haitians are fucking Africans, okay? Like they're African. So you can kind of see like the difference, and we don't talk about that in America. Right. So we have been taken away from our traditions and who we are as a people. Like, even if you think about the whole notion of, you know, I don't want to be growing food because of sharecropping. We're people of the earth. We're supposed to be getting our hands dirty. We're not supposed to have to go to a store to get vegetables. It's counterproductive to who we are. So we're in this whole environment that's a fucking barrel. We're in a barrel. That's why we're crabs in a barrel. Like,
that makes a lot of sense. It really does. So what projects are you currently working on? Because I know we talk a lot about, you know, we spoke a lot about doing things practically and, you know, actually living our lives and having careers and businesses and things of that nature that really speak to our soul. So I want to give you both an opportunity to tell the world what it is that you're working on, what it is that you want to share. So, Divinity, we'll start with you.
Okay, so right now, I am a writer. I have a blog called Black Mommy Mystic, where I talk about all things spiritual, motherly, and I have short stories on there, fictional short stories. If you like to read scary stories, I like to write though. Nice. That's a little random. I know. And
I like the charade in the background with the sound effects.
Right. I love the sound effects. So yeah, and so I'm blogging right now. That's just really a part of my truth. But what I see myself doing in the future definitely is being having a place where people could come and experience sound bowl healing. I definitely want to be able to take people into another space, into another zone where they can relax and they can be at peace and they can just find euphoria and everything and just be able to connect. And
you mean like producing your own sound healing music, or
using the singing bowls and having a place or a building where people can come.
A physical place. Okay.
Yeah, having a physical place. And so, like, that's been in my heart, is really doing that. And then also I have another thing I'm working on, which is being a, what do you call that? Postpartum healer. A postpartum healer. So what I want to do.
Postpartum depression is so real.
It's so real. Yes. And so I really realized that as someone who has birthed children and who has some experience with these things, that I want to be able to help mothers be able to have a moment where they can be at peace. They can chill out, and I could come into their spaces or their homes and do the singing bowl healing, maybe bring a meal, be able to massage them or put and relax them and, you know, take care of them. Right. Because I really feel like after mothers have babies, they don't get the care and the attention that they need because it's on the baby now. Right. The baby's here. So I want to be that person who comes in and also helps them, you know, get back to their everyday life and feel loved and supported. So I have a few things that I'm working on,
and they're all amazing.
Yeah. So right now it's just Black Mommy Mystic, and I'm building.
What's
I'm
the
definitely
link?
Building.
I'll tell the link for your blog.
Yeah. So it's www.blackmommymystic.wordpress.com. Okay. So yeah, it's a blog on WordPress right now and just growing. You can also find me on Twitter at Divinity Shrine, and that's where I post my updates for my blogs and things. So I have all these things that I'm brewing, and I'm going to connect together as time progresses.
That's amazing. And then Shared, what are you working on right now?
So my focus is my damn self. No.
Right. Nothing wrong with that.
But also I have my baby Travel With Me Now. That's Travel W Me Now, Facebook, Instagram. So basically it's travel, group traveling, but having it to where vacation is a experience of freedom. So often we go on group trips and we have itineraries laid out for us, and we go and we connect with the destination. But Travel With Me Now is more about connecting with the people, supporting them economically, and also not having an itinerary, going on vacation and being free to do whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
So you get a destination guide. I'll get you from the airport to the house. We'll have a welcome dinner, but you connect with the place and the people like you do. And sometimes that means like two people go off and do their own thing. Sometimes the group's together, but it's nice.
So it's like a group, a traveling group for solo travelers.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Good job. Yes. Look at me. Yes. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's
because
amazing.
I personally hate group travel. But it's afforded me so many lessons, and it's that principle of sharing. When you get a big house and you share it, the vacation, it costs less, you know. Your experiences are different because you're in a neighborhood with people who are from there. So we like to connect with the people and really, you can come back in the house and you guys might have all had different experiences, and now you can share that at the table.
Yes.
So it's just introducing a different way of travel, opening up that bubble of what travel is. And so we're going to be branding next year. I have a team of, it's like 9 of us, but Universe is going to send me my last person. So we're going to go on a retreat and like bang it out and launch it next year. So I'm super excited. We've already been taking trips though, and we have our cabin trips going to come up in January. So we'll be putting out information about that at the end of the summer.
Awesome. And where could people find you?
On Instagram and Facebook at Travel W Me Now. You can also search Instagram #BringThatAss, and you'll find me there as well.
I love it.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
Yes.
Having you. Like, I love this so
Gratitude,
much.
right?
Yes. Yes. I think
I
this
just
was
made
great.
a friend.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. You know where to find both
Thank
Charette
you.
and Divinity.
Yes. Come see about me, y'all.
Yes. Bring that ass.
Yes, bring that ass. Yes.
Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I sincerely hope that you were able to take away something impactful for your life as you move forward in your own personal journey of evolution. Finding yourself isn't always easy, but I do want you to know that you are not alone by any means, because you have a soul tribe in us that will always cheer you on as you move past doubt, fear, insecurity, and adversity into the unknown, where all of the magic, your magic, dwells infinitely. Till next time.